Hello, starseeds and lightworkers. It's Diana Realist, and I'm your quantum consciousness ascension guide in explaining and understanding how we're ascending from a carbon-based 666 3D matrix into a crystalline body, into a Katharic crystalline spiral that brings us from the first harmonic universe into the second, third, fourth, and further up into the upper levels of the harmonic universes. Please like, subscribe, and share. And if you want to know more about this kind of technology, essential mechanics, and the formulas that go with it, and the templates and the blueprint of how we are anchoring our soul, oversoul, into this 3D matrix, into carbon based bodies, and planet Earth as a carbon-based matrix, please visit our activated priestess and priestesses of conscious love, light, and conscious wealth on our Facebook group, and follow us on our Soul Recoded Towards Ascension, so you can learn more and activate your own gifts and your own soul path, soul blueprint to anchor and embody your soul mission that you as a starseed, as a light worker, as a blue or an indigo ray or a enlightened being soul came to this planet to do just that. It was by your choice signing up for this mission on planet Earth at this specific time in the ascension of the consciousness of Earth consciousness, with the lighting up the codes of the blueprint of the DNA, of the blueprint of planet Earth, of your family that you chose, of your experiences here on planet Earth, for very good reasons. You are not here at this specific time in the ascension timeline of Earth. You are not by accident here, not by accident listening to this transmission. You are not by accident experiencing everything around you and asking those questions. You're starting to ask questions, around your family, around your job, around your partnership, around your experiences on the planet Earth, because your DNA codes, your ascension codes have been triggered, and you are remembering, or should I say activated, right? And now you're remembering those lost parts. Your DNA strands are starting to come online. If you're a light worker and a star seed, or anybody who's asking the question why, it means you're ready. You are an ascended being who came to Earth with the mission of increasing the frequency of the information field of the Earth that we live on. Essential mechanics actually explains in the transmissions provided by Dina Ashin in her book, that in her series of books, The Voyagers, explains what this is all about and how can we actually transcend and transmute our own soul shadow, our phantom that we carry with us, that happens right here in the first harmonic universe, capped by beliefs, by the belief system, by the labels that we got put on, by mindset, by intuition, by the way you're accessing our intuition. This all happens in the first harmonic universe, into the 666 coded, carbon-based universe and reality that you're creating at this very instance. However, because you chose to understand more, you chose to learn more, you chose to ask questions uh, and find the answers for those driving questions that move you forward, right? And understanding, okay, well, how can I do this better? How can I do my job better? How can I be a better parent, or a better girlfriend, or a better boyfriend? Or how can we actually, how can I bring back online all my gifts that I know I have, right? When we are sleeping, we're going back to sleep, we remember, and we have whispers that whisper us, do you remember? Like, I felt like I knew these things. I felt like I know these things. Where have I seen this before? Well, your oversoul has traveled through many, many universes and multiverses that we all attached to and connected to. And your oversoul, coming from many star systems, has chosen to come to life and and earning or embodying this template, right? The flesh of carbon matrix based human body, because you knew and you signed up in your soul contract to come a specific this time as a warrior, as a Jedi, as a glitch in the matrix, to glitch the matrix away from its finite carbon based 666 capped universe that was kept away, that was keeping us away from living a life of full potential. I always say the educational system is the best mirror of what a society is about. And with the minor exceptions of teachers and coaches who've broken away from the main curriculum educational system, right? With those exceptions, everybody else, all the children who are coming to school and going to school every single day, your children, your maybe your brother or sister's children, your nieces, your nephews, your grandchildren, your granddaughter, your grandson, who goes to the public school system, is plastered and brainwashed and manipulated and programmed to believe that there's nothing else but this. There's nothing else. There is no parallel universe. There is no soul. There is no spirit. There is nothing else but good and bad. Believing and forcing these little children, right, for 12 years, and then further in colleges and PhDs and whatnot, and we have professionals running around with these codes ingrained into their blueprint, not knowing that they're actually damaging themselves, they're damaging their soul, and they're damaging everybody else they have contact with, right? You go to the doctors, and what do they tell you? Oh, you're sick. There's nothing we can do about it. Did you know? Oh, what? Are you having just a spiritual awakening and you just feel like sick to your death, but you don't know what's happening because all your vitals are coming back normal, right? All your blood, all your blood exams are coming back normal, right? I've experienced this my entire life. However, nobody's telling us that there is something else that's happening. And this is where my mission comes in, and my vision is to actually bring this transmission to you so you can understand all this and learn how to ascend, how to transcend your shadow that lives here. What's your shadow? Your negative, right? Or, oh, if we're too positive, we have those days when we're so positive that, oh my God, everything is going to go great. And then we get into the super excitement and then nothing happens then, or everything falls apart because it's a finite system. The Tri Veca Codes will always keep you trapped. If you believe that that's a positive, good and bad, It's a either or, then that's what you're going to create for your reality. And I'm here to say and to bring your increase your awareness and saying there is more, part of the essential mechanics and transmissions that starseeds have started to channel, that actually, and quantum science supports all this, that we do live in multiverses, that we actually are creating our reality every second. Nothing is written in stone, not even your DNA. Contrary to what we've been told, that made to believe that that was, and maybe that those times, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or 50 years ago, that's all what they could discover, have discovered the sciences. But now we have, since past 10 years, we have so much more information that really supports, through epigenetics, through understanding that there's a morphogenetic field surrounding us. Sorry, I had my sticky person right here before and I erased it. But I'm going to say this is us here. And we do have, right, per all the spiritual knowledge so far, and coming from, from the Vedic culture and from the Chinese systems, right? 5,000, 6,000 years old, saying that, yeah, you know what, we have an auric field, right? That's like light and sound around surrounding us. Well, science start proving that as well for the past 10 years. The field is called epigenetics, where it says our DNA strand is not finite. Our DNA strand is modifying and rewriting itself as we speak. Our DNA strand is influenced by our beliefs, by our mindset, and allows us to actually access our intuition. It creates its own codes to do just that. And the more you use it, the more this program writes itself or rewrites itself through a sound and light system. It creates itself from the inside out. And in my transmission today, in understanding how we're actually jumping from and evolving from a carbon-based 3D matrix that is kept and keeps us in a harness lock through a Fibonacci mathematical sequence of death. And the representation or the symbol for that is actually the daisy of death, or the flower of death. Sorry, it's flower of life, daisy of death. And you see it, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then it creates like that, and it keeps going. Well, it evolves, right? So there's a bunch of circles around it, keeps going around and around. However, these are all capped, and you have them. Unfortunately, the spiritual community is not aware of this, that actually the more you look at one of those, it's actually, and they're imprinted, and engraved into everything we handle. And the more we look at it and activate it, the more it will create a and keep the lock phase in, keep it gas trapped. The Fibonacci sequence in itself is a spiral of death. This is why you're actually seeing it everywhere on all the shells, all the marine shells. And yes, they're in the flowers too, but have you noticed that those flowers are only blooming to die? Right? So the moment they are starting to evolve in the 3D matrix, they're actually going towards their death, because there is no connection to the source because of the Fibonacci sequence. And if you want to know more, just I refer you back to the other transmissions and visit our activated priest and priestess of conscious light, love, and wealth in our Facebook group and on our soul recoded programs. And the links are all in the bio. And this Fibonacci sequence is actually a sequence that only feeds on its own. And because the Fibonacci sequence in itself goes from, starts at zero, at the 0 point, right? The quantum 0 point that into the universal, information consciousness, into the information field, conscious information field, but it never returns back to its 0 point. And now let me write down the Fibonacci sequence for you so you understand. I'm going to write it in reverse because this is in reverse. I can't figure out how to do mirror through live or through video. So one day I'll get there and then I won't have to write it in reverse because I'm a kindergarten teacher, darling. And my friend, this is my training. I always have our 5 years old writing on their ABCs and writing their name, and we've learned how to read upside down and in reverse. So the Fibonacci sequence in itself starts at 0, then says 1 plus 0 is 1. So that's the only time when it goes back to its source. But after this goes 1 plus 1 makes 2. 1 plus 2 makes 3. 2 plus 3 makes, I'm trying to write in reverse, 5. I think like so. And it keeps going. Do you see how it never goes back to itself? It always stays in a Tri Veca code where it eats on its own, where it eats on the element prior to it, instead of anchoring itself into the zero field. Compared to the crystalline sequence, which you can see it right here. I'm going to get out of the way so you can see. The crystalline sequence says I start at 0, then my first one is 1. So see how the 0 and 1 are still the same. But because we live in a 3D matrix, this actually, the Fibonacci sequence puts a harness onto the Katharic, to the crystalline sequence. So it goes, the crystalline sequence says, well, I add one first element, and 0 plus 1 is 1. But then to get to the next one, I say, well, my next step over is all my elements put together. 0 plus 1 is 2. And then it keeps going. So my next step in evolution or in creativity, whatever I'm creating, it considers 0 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 makes 4. And then the next step over in your creation process, if you go by this sequence and you're aware of it instead of the other one, you don't build in the crystalline universe into the second and above harmonic universe. You always consider the source, meaning that every time you're creating something from nothing, you would always go back and ask yourself, why? What's the message here? What is the lesson I need to learn to grow further? Okay, compared to our finite system, and where the Tri Veca codes are on action in the Fibonacci sequence, mathematical sequence, is, well, you say, well, yeah, I'm creating this, so I had one marker, and then I'm just going to add, my wand on top, and then on top of this goes something else, and it never considers the source itself. Where is this coming from? Right? Where is your awareness coming from? Who is giving you those ideas? And this is where the ego comes in, right? The ego says, no, we don't need a source, darling. I know everything. So you can see it that way. So I got to my chair back. So you can see where the problem is then. And if we're not aware that our world should be looking different, and we should have a different awareness about our world we live in, including mindset, beliefs, everything that we're building, everything we're creating, like you can be anything on this planet. This is inorganic. This is organic. The organic architecture in everything you want, like buildings, right? Plants always have the roots that they are anchored with. That's why I call my program, activated, anchored, embodied. So if you're a healer, a shaman, a coach, you should know this. And if you want to learn more how to recode your harmonic, your second and up harmonic universes, how to start your and activate your Maharic shield to transcend and be at all times not attacked by these virus codes that are like living around us at all times, then please like and subscribe and sign up with our programs. We have a new program coming up in summer, which is recoded, soul recoded, and we'll learn more about all this there. In the second harmonic universe and up, so the ones that we're like getting better and better, and we detaching ourselves from the positive and the negative, right? We have in action the Tri Veca Codes, which says at the source of everything is the source of everything is unseen. It's not visible. It's connected. So the roots, I would say, of these plants, or us growing and evolving, or our spirit evolving, or everything that we're building and creating, has a source that's invisible, that has been already created as per quantum universe in the infinite consciousness field. Okay? This is a finite, this is infinite. This is inorganic, this is organic. So, based on this, then the Tri Veca code separates itself in antimatter and matter particles. And the matter always is in a relationship with its mirror counterpart in the spiritual part, or in the invisible aspect, in the antimatter particle. And by the time it all feeds on from the source and not consuming itself, eating itself away, then it creates the crystalline body, the crystalline organic structure. And you might be confused, well, quartz, why is we're considering silica, right, is actually quartz. Well, the crystalline structure, the silica-based model that we're looking at, different than the carbon model, the mole, or the molecule that these two elements, Si, the silica, or I don't know how you pronounce it, and the oxygen, the two atoms of oxygen creating this element itself, looks like this. Looks actually like a hexagram. Looks like by the time it starts anchoring itself in the source, it starts moving and actually creates tetrahedrons. So like the pyramids with triangle bases. Compared to this, the carbon, which actually are chains of carbon. And this is why they are saying it looks almost like Earth and planet Earth and everything that's on Earth is being kept because we are built on this carbon, and we don't think that's anything else outside of it. So by only focusing on the material part, carbon is a dead element. Okay, it only allows to, as a portal to through photosynthesis in our organic structure, it allows photosynthesis to, through light, to build sugar chains, I think. And I better start refreshing on my organic chemistry. But you can see how this is a 666 element, where it says 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons, while our quartz crystalline basis actually is a 14, has 14 protons, 14 electrons, and 14 neutrons. And by the time this is all building itself inside into the architecture, it actually allows for a spin, creating the Merkaba fields, creating this creating the vortexes that allow transfer to the source, right? From the source through and back. And this is where we see, so the harmonic universes are looked at in essential mechanics to, with the understanding that we're looking at scalar waves, meaning that there is an extra element that does not include time, but there's another element that is considered, and that is something that's faster than light, something that includes light and sound as an element in creating. Okay, and this is where all the wisdom, with all the spiritual and knowledge, right? This is why we all see all the Christian saints having the halo around them. It's not just the aura. Okay, and I'm going to make another transmission about actually using the cross, what the cross means inside the by Vecca 666 carbon based finite matrix that has has hacked into the cross element, the cross blueprint that was originally at the base of all creation, at the base of all life. And we're going to talk about that. But it has, I'll give you a little clue, it has something to do with how the Tri Veca Codes actually work, how they are code inside the creation, their creation codes, and the way they build. And you see this actually in a cellular division. It's fission and fusion process at the chemical level, at really chemical level, DNA level type, right? And creation actually happens through a Tri Veca code, not the Bi Veca code. Okay, if there is life that's dying, it's switched back into the carbon based instead of the Tri Veca, to the crystalline aspect. So with this, I'm going to conclude here, and I invite you to like and subscribe and share. And I invite you to check our Facebook group, Activated Priests and Priestesses of Conscious Light, Love, and Conscious Wealth, and our program Soul Recoded, where we have where we talk about the 5 pillars of activating your authenticity, right? So if you're a coach, if you're a healer, if you're a shaman, you have to know this, because otherwise you'll be stuck in a 9 to 5 hustling or 80 hours a week job, not knowing, dude, like, when I'm going to get a break from these clients. Like, I love my clients, but when I'm going to have a time for myself, like, I need time to create. Your creation will be sucked away if you are not aware of the fact that you still need plenty of time for yourself to access back your creativity, your ingenuity, your inspiration. And you do. And here's another thing, there is a shortcut through all this. You're right, we don't need to understand all this. If you understand that to live happy and joyful and to embody all our gifts, and why we even came here to earth to do anything, is to live like children. Children are the most beautiful light shining and happiness and joy, because they have not been programmed yet, right? So there's a transfer of the Fibonacci spiral. There is an overlap, I would say, just at the beginning, like, and probably in the first 2 or 3 years, maybe, of children on Earth, if they're not exposed to, like abuse and all that. That's all labeling and sinking them back into this. Right? But if you leave a child, and just provide for them, then, and they're happy and joyful and they learn the authentic ways, the next stumbling block, so they're still in here, living in here, but the next for sure stumbling block would be the educational system that I talked about, right? I'm a kindergarten teacher, so I'm coming from there to say this is what I've learned there, and it's very unfortunate. And I send this happy and joyful and beautiful and full of gifts, programmed to die, literally squash their spirits away in kindergarten and preschool, in the public school systems. So you know me, I'm an advocate actually for educational systems that support an organic way, that support inspiration and creativity and freedom. So until later on, I invite you all, check our tomorrow we're having our 20 weeks webinars, master classes of our mentors, of my mentors, I would say that I'm partnered with, and that belongs to the fifth pillar. So if you want to understand more, what's about the fifth pillars here, please go and check our Soul Recoded portal, where we explain a bit more. However, the first, second, third, and fourth pillar all talk about this. How can you use your mindset to activate your gifts? What are your gifts? What are your gifts? How can you find them? How do you know what your gifts are? There's many ways to discover, but I am supporting my knowledge or my understanding of my progress from offer. I'm supporting it with essential mechanics and quantum physics. So you choose whatever suits you and what resonates with you. So please check all our programs, and as tomorrow we have our launch, big day launching. Tomorrow will be Tuesday, April the 11th. And we're launching our 20-week seminars, weekly master classes, the freedom business model that in itself supports a business based on this, regardless what business you're doing right now, or whatever your job is right now. The business that I'm offering and I'm partnered with goes and evolves by supporting a Tri Veca Code development, evolution, right? We all have, our businesses have an evolution as well, just like human beings, right? Everything we're creating, all creation goes by either capped in by Veca codes or by Tri Veca, allowed to flourish. So if you want to understand more, if you hit a stumbling block in your creativity, in what you're trying to do, in your mindset, in your love life, or your business, your family, whatever you want to create, you're manifesting is capped. Manifesting in here, it's never going to work. Manifesting from here, connecting to the source, connected to love and light, will help you flourish. So until later on, I love you all. Please like, subscribe, and share. Diana really signing out. Love you all.